Jesse Palmer, Joe Shad, alongside Chris Cotter. Barry Sanders is going to join us here in a little bit. But first, we got to talk a little bit about Auburn, Alabama, as we do so often on this show. The recruiting battle, as you know, in this state, very heated. Some kids go to Alabama, some Auburn. So no surprise when standout linebacker Trey Williams from Mobile signed with the Tigers in February. It was a bit of a surprise, though, when he told WNSP that Nick Saban suffered from, quote, little man syndrome. Joe, fair or not, we're not going to comment on that, but the perception out there is sometimes very negative when you talk about Nick Saban. Should he be concerned about how everybody, whether it's recruits, whatever the case, how they view him?
Nick Saban will probably tell you he doesn't care, okay? But he cares what the players think. He cares what their moms think. No question, Nick Saban has been able to recruit successfully despite the perception. The perception, as we know, disciplined, detail-oriented taskmaster, a guy who doesn't seem to have a sense of humor, a guy who doesn't seem particularly happy even after national championship wins, and a guy who unquestionably can create fear in a room no matter who is in that room. But he's been able to work around it because the kids know you can win a championship, you can get to the National Football League, and the moms believe that he and his staff will take care of the players.
I wonder if it's changed, too, because you think about Bear Bryant. I mean, Woody Hayes wasn't exactly, a bowl of cherries to hang out with, yet he still was able to get kids to come.
Chris, if I'm a recruit, it doesn't matter whether or not you're a quote-unquote players coach or you're a drill sergeant. The important things are winning games, preparing yourself to play on Sunday, and developing you as a man to prepare yourself for life after football. Steve Spurrier and I were not texting buddies in college.
But I thought it was interesting. You told me when we were talking about it earlier, you really didn't know that much about Steve Spurrier in terms of how much of a taskmaster he was or how much he might criticize his own players and stuff like that.
The important thing to me when I got to Florida was learning football and learning to become a man, to give myself an opportunity when I was done playing football. And I feel like I accomplished those things while I was at football. Remember, a lot of these kids going into college, they need some tough love sometimes. That's not the worst thing in the world either. But whether you're a player's coach, it depends. Are you looking for a best friend when you're in college, or are you looking for a role model? That's, to me, what's more important about college football coaches today.
Recruiting is the lifeblood in college football, and this is how Nick Saban has built this dynasty at Alabama, and he continues to do it right now. He has 15 commits in the ESPN Top 300 for next year, so he does it. But how does Gus Malzahn now make inroads in terms of that recruiting battle? Is he doing it, and is the pressure on him right now?
Without a doubt, the pressure has to be on Gus Malzahn at Auburn. It's not just to capitalize on the success they had last year, but it's to continue bringing in talent in years to come to make it an even playing field in the Iron Bowl, which isn't one of the great sports rivalries in college football. It transcends sports and period. And you just mentioned it. Nick Saban, the best recruiter right now in college football. He's established a dynasty, 3 national titles the last 5 years. He's practically the governor of that state. You see him in New York every NFL draft because he has at least 2 guys going in the first round every year. Gus Malzahn has to hit the recruiting till outgrind Nick Saban, because if they go 8-4 or 7-5 this year and lose to Alabama, that is a huge step back and something you cannot afford to do, especially when you consider Nick Saban's office. It's right down the road. Alabama
has practically been 1, 2, 3, 4 in the ESPN national recruiting rankings over the last 5 years. But don't kid yourselves, Auburn has been terrific too. And they're taking a little bit of a different approach. They're saying, look, you'll get to a championship game with us. We're the team to knock off Alabama. We're going to win in a more exciting way. We're going to run up-tempo. Here you see the recruiting rank. They're saying, look, not only do we have good players, good crowd support, good facilities, but we're a cool school. And they're going after the players with a different approach.
Now, I don't know if you'll ever show the pressure, but isn't there pressure on Saban right now because he's dominated for so long, and here comes the upstart in terms of Auburn, and the pressure is all on Saban to keep bringing in those #1 classes?
I don't think he's worried about the new kid on the block because he's done it so well for so long. And you just mentioned this upcoming year's recruiting class. It might be the 4th straight #1 class according to ESPN 300. But what makes this rivalry so exciting now, guys, and you just mentioned it too, Joe, is how these two coaches juxtapose one another. Malzahn has an offensive background, Saban on defense. Malzahn wants to go fast, Saban wants to slow it down. Malzahn uses misdirection, Saban's running it right at you whether you like it or not. It's an interesting strategy with recruiting that potentially attracts a different type of player depending on the style they want to play. But it's what makes this rivalry, I think, so much better, hopefully for years to come.
It's always fun when recruits pop off, too.
No doubt about it.